Hello, loves. I'm gonna give just a moment for everyone to join. This is a surprise live, so there's no announcement that I was gonna go live, but it is my birthday, and I was in really deep reflection this morning, just about how much my life has changed drastically in a year. And some of you have reached out and have asked me like, how did I do it? What's the secret sauce? And so as I was reflecting and journaling this morning, I was like, I need to come on and I need to talk about this. And I also want to give all of you who follow me and who are here in my world a chance to also have a life and the ability to collapse timelines and really truly step into what you desire in a way that it feels aligned and feels safe and feels soft and feels feels like it can be done without this sense of hustle and having to do all these things to manifest. And so I'm gonna give a little surprise away today. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about it at the end of this live. But in case you want to take advantage of it right now, I am gonna also drop it in the comments, and I'm gonna pin it in the comments. Okay. But we'll talk about what the birthday gift is at the end of this live. And this is something that I just decided I was going to give away today. And we'll talk about why I'm giving this specific thing away today. This is really big. Let me see if I can pin it. Perfect. But if you listen to this whole live, you're going to want to take advantage of the gift. I'll just say that. Okay. So it was this morning when I woke up. I usually, in the mornings, I get up and we live most of the time, not all the time, but we live, a majority of the time. When we don't have the girls, we live out in Lynchburg. Nathan and I do. And usually in the mornings, there's a whole routine and a whole ritual that I do. I get up, I go downstairs, I feed the dog, I feed the cat, I come in, I make coffee, I take my vitamins, I go back outside, I feed the other cat we have, then I go feed the chickens, check on the ducks, go to see the baby chicks. It's this whole thing, right? There's this whole ritual. And this morning I was getting up, I was getting ready to get out of bed to go do it. And Nathan was like, hey, no, don't get out of bed. The girls and I have something special for you. And so, 20 to 30 minutes later, they brought me up coffee and they brought me up breakfast, and I was just able to receive snuggles in bed, which was it was just a really, really beautiful thing. And it helped me really ground into and be present with, whoa, it's wild how different my life is than 1 year ago. And for those of you who are new to my world, I'll give you a little bit of background around what that looked like, because I didn't always have, especially a year ago, I wasn't in this space of having so much love and so much softness and so much space and so much peace in my life. I had created it for myself, but I was in a totally different place. So this time last year, I was dealing with one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life, truly. I had just moved back to Nashville from living in Denver. I had just ended a relationship that I truly in my soul at that time thought was going to be my forever relationship. For both of us in that relationship, we checked a lot of boxes on each other's lists. And we both woke up one day. I'll never forget this. We had gone to church. It was a Sunday, and we were sitting at breakfast, and I remember looking at him and just saying over my eggs, I could feel it. I was like, you're not happy. And he got quiet, and he looked at me and he was like, you're not either. And I knew in that moment, because previously that week I had a pretty strong vision, that I had this vision of me looking out onto a skyline. It was in this it looked like it was an apartment or a condo, and I was looking out into the skyline, and I didn't recognize the city at the time, but my ex and I were talking about moving, and it didn't feel like it was any of the places that we were talking about moving, because we were talking about moving to either California, we were talking about moving to Phoenix. And I remember coming out of that vision, because I had been doing some really deep identity work, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit, and feeling like God, the universe, gave me my next chapter, and feeling this pit in my stomach, like, holy cow, I don't think that this is it. Like, I don't think this version that I have been given, this identity that the universe has given me, I don't really feel like what I'm living right now is it. And maybe it can evolve to that, but it didn't feel like it in that moment, even though this person checked off all of the boxes on my list. And I just kind of stayed true to that, and I surrendered, and I said, all right, universe, like, whatever you got to do it. And please make sure that it's clear and show me the path. And so then a few short days later, we ended up having this conversation. And so long story short, we both decided to end the relationship, and we decided to separate. And this was after a lot of people, even some of you here on Instagram, were like, many of you were shocked, right? To be honest, my ex-partner and I, we were pretty shocked too. We're like, this is kind of crazy. Because this relationship that looked so great on paper, it wasn't it. It really wasn't it. And I knew that the moment I decided to stay in that partnership, because I had been given such a strong vision from the universe, from God, whatever you believe in, I knew that if I stayed in that relationship, it would have meant that I would have been abandoning myself. And I would have been trying to put something in a box that it looked great on paper, but it didn't feel the way that I knew in my heart it was supposed to feel. And so I remember having that conversation, getting in my car, because I felt so flooded. We both felt so flooded. We had to take space. And I remember sitting in my car feeling like I had been cracked wide open. And I kept asking myself, like, what does this all mean? I don't understand what this means. Like, I kept asking the universe, like, this is everything on paper that I desired. What's happening? What does this mean? I don't understand. And I kept hearing in those tiny little moments, like, there's something bigger. There's something bigger. There's something deeper in alignment. And it didn't make sense, but because I had been so dedicated to my nervous system work and my identity work, which we'll talk about in a moment, I knew that subtle whisper that most women are taught to ignore, most women don't listen to, I knew, because I had been doing so much work to reconnect to that part of myself, that I had to go, and I had to leave, and I had to move forward, even if it didn't make sense. And it didn't make sense to a lot of people. And in a lot of ways, like, there were parts of me that doubted it, but there were also parts of me that had done so much work to connect to that part of me that I knew, gosh, I literally can't stay here. If I stay here, a part of me is going to feel abandoned. So I ended up leaving Denver. I ended up coming back to Nashville, Tennessee a year ago, right? A little like a year and a month ago. And I moved. I moved physically, I moved emotionally, I moved spiritually. Like, everything in my life came crumbling down. At that point in time too, the relationship ended. I ended up letting go of my entire team at work because I was working ridiculous hours and it didn't feel like it was in alignment. My health was starting to tank. I could feel hormonally that things were off. It was like all of these things started to crumble. And I felt completely empty. I was like, I don't understand what's happening, but I also did understand what was happening, because I always tell every single one of my clients when you go through my programs that when you choose a new identity, and what I mean by when you choose a new identity, that moment because I'm really dedicated to my morning routine and my visualizations and my connection to something higher. When you have a vision, or a lot of people like to call them downloads, or when you have a knowing or a reconnection to your intuition, where you're given a hint of what's available for you, and you have those moments of clarity, and the more that you do the work inside of my containers, you know this because you've had these moments. When you have those moments of clarity and you see the identity, everything that's in alignment with the old identity, because you've just been given a new identity, you've been given a vision of what's possible for you. Everything that's in alignment with the old identity, it has to crumble in order to create space for the new identity to make its way in. And so in the relationship crumbling, in my health declining, in my business plummeting backwards, the only thing that I had to go on was this principle that I teach to my clients every single day, which is, in order to have the new identity available to you, everything that's in alignment with the old identity has to crumble. You have to create space for what it is that you desire in your life. And that was the anchor that was keeping me from spiraling into old patterns. The old patterns of, well, maybe I should just stay because what if someone else doesn't choose me, right? Here's the other thing. I was about to be 30. It was right before my 36th birthday. I wanted children. I wanted a family. And I remember saying to myself, yeah, but if I leave, my window's already closing. What if someone doesn't choose me? And if they do choose me, then we're going to have to date for a year. And then we're going to have to, get married, because I don't want to just have kids right away. It really wasn't in my vision. And I was like, I'm going to be 40 when I'm having my first child. And, there's all of these things started going through my brain. All of these old patterns. I remember crying to my mom, crying to my best friend, crying to what I hear on most of my calls now. Is this going to happen for me? Maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe I'm not meant to get married. Maybe I'm not meant to have babies, right? Maybe there's something wrong with me. I'm broken. All of these things started to peek their head forward. And because of the work that I've done to really ground into my nervous system, I knew I had the tools to anchor in and buckle down like I had never done before. So I moved, I came back to Nashville, and I decided, right, I'm going to choose me. I'm going to choose me. I'm going to fall in love with me. I'm going to romance me. And because I had this vision, I also knew in my heart that what was meant for me was going to come in, and it was going to come in fast. And the universe was giving me a chance to actually apply everything I teach, every single thing that I teach inside of all of my programs, to make it my reality. And so I came home, I moved back, I got a diamond ring, right? I was like, okay, this reality that I thought I desired and I wanted can still be possible, but I have to have it for me first. I have to fall in love with me first. And so I bought myself a diamond ring and designed it with Store by Margot. If you watched my video from today, you'll see it. It's beautiful. It's stunning. This is it, right? It's so pretty. I decided that I was going to build a life that felt as good as it looked. What many of you saw in Denver was a life that looked really great, but it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like it was in alignment with what my soul really wanted. And so I made the decision when I came back to Nashville, I'm going to build a life that feels just as good as it looks. And I said, what do you want? And at that time, I wanted the ring, so I designed it for myself. I had also seen in my vision in Denver a year prior, I had the vision that I saw with the downtown landscape that I couldn't pinpoint. I realized when I got back to Nashville that I was going to need to find somewhere to live, because both of my places in Nashville that I had purchased were rented. They had been rented out, but both people in my condo and my house had just signed a year lease. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to find a place to live. So I start shopping for apartments. I walk into the second apartment that I looked at, and it was floor to ceiling windows with a beautiful view of downtown Nashville. And it was in that moment, that was my reassurance moment, that I knew that the universe was right, that I knew that the download that I had been given, I knew the vision that I had been given was right on track, and I was being deeply supported, because that vision was the same vision that I had in Denver a couple months prior that I just couldn't understand. I couldn't get. I'm like, why am I having this vision? And so I just continued to fall in love with myself. I continued to create the life that looked just as good as it felt. I started really nourishing myself. I started orienting to where there was already love in my life. One of my deepest core wounds, one of my deepest beliefs is that everybody leaves. Every single person leaves. And I remember my best friend telling me, I went to see her right after the breakup happened. And she said to me, you know, I'm getting really tired of hearing that everybody leaves, because I have been here. Like, I have been here from the get-go. I have never left you. But yet you keep telling yourself that everybody leaves, and it's just not true. And one of the practices, again, that I lead my clients through, and we're going to talk about, you can do this too. One of the practices that I started to apply for myself was the reversal of the negative belief exercise that I teach, which is everybody leaves. Well, no, there's proof that people don't leave. I had built this case file for everybody leaves. And it started to be a case file that was so familiar to my nervous system that my nervous system just kept choosing it. So I had to sit down and say, wait a second. I got out a piece of paper. I wrote down, who are all the people in my life that have never left? Who's never left? My mom's never left. My dad's never left. My brother's never left. Kristen's never left. Lily has never left. Stephanie has never left. Like, I have people that have never left. I had all of this proof that people never leave, but yet I was choosing everybody leaves. And that became the frequency in which I was attracting from. So I started to use a lot of my nervous system tools that I teach inside of my programs. I started to really double down on them, right? That was one of them, because when you think about a belief, when you think about a negative belief, it also holds weight inside of your nervous system. When I thought about that, there was so much constriction. I would feel my body want to close up. When your body wants to constrict and close up, there's a frequency associated with that. Every emotion has an energetic frequency tied to it. So even though I wasn't consciously choosing everyone leaves on a moment-to-moment basis, subconsciously my nervous system was choosing it. And because my nervous system was choosing that as its familiar path, it kept attracting from the space of lack. It kept attracting from the space of everybody leaves. So I had to start questioning some of these beliefs. And then when I started to question the beliefs, I then was able to go into what are the sensations and the emotions associated with these new beliefs, because I am supported and deeply loved and surrounded by people that never leave has a much different frequency than everybody leaves. And so the more that I started to orient to these new beliefs, the more I started to really fall in love with my life. And I started to realize, like, whoa, this love that I've been desiring in partnership, it's already here. I'm just choosing to not orient to it. I'm choosing the most familiar path, which is scarcity, which is abandonment, which is lack. And so I had to really double down on my nervous system techniques to orient and choose the new beliefs and the new nervous system path. Full of abundance, full of love, full of excitement. And as this started to happen, as I really started to fall in love with my life again, I then started to fall in love with dating. And I started to date. And let me tell you, last year I dated some really amazing men, some really great men. Men that were deeper and deeper and deeper in alignment with what my soul actually wanted. Not from the external sense, but from the internal sense. And they were all beautiful men, right? They were beautiful men who had really deep souls. And I started to say, wait, this is fun. Like, I'm falling in love with this. This is great. And after doing that, after building this life that I genuinely was in love with, I had this moment where I woke up, and this doesn't mean, I want to say this too, this doesn't mean that I didn't have hard days. There weren't days that I was sad and I was grieving and I was mourning, like this loss of a relationship that I thought was the one, right? It doesn't mean that I didn't have grief over this dream that I thought was going to be mine that had been stripped away. All that was happening. I was also still having the anxiety around being 36 years old and nowhere near close to marriage and babies. But the nervous system work and the identity work that I teach kept me rooted in, yeah, but I know in my heart that this is meant for me. And I deeply believe that, like, could you imagine a God or a universe that puts a desire on your heart and then just doesn't allow it to come true? That feels horrible, and I don't want to subscribe to that. I refuse to subscribe to it. So I'm going to subscribe that this is going to be mine. It gets to be mine. I'm worthy of this. And because I'm worthy, I get to fall in love with the life that I have now. So after that, I then met Nathan, right? Very shortly, after dating a couple men and getting clearer and clearer and clearer on what my heart desired, I ended up meeting Nathan. And I knew on our second date, like, this is it. This has felt in my heart and in my soul the deepest I've ever felt in alignment with what I actually desired in partnership. And it was able to make its way in because I fell in love with my life. I started to really let the intention be, I want my life to look as good as it feels. And I tell the women inside of my collective program all the time that Nathan did not bring anything into my life that I didn't already have. And I want you to hear that, right? I had so much love when I met him, like so much love, and I was really orienting to it. I was in the space of feeling like my life is really beautiful and it's really great. When I met him, he expanded my capacity to feel into love more. And that is what I often see is missing from a lot of the women that I work with. They're stuck in lack. They're stuck in scarcity. They're not in love with their life. They haven't romanced themselves. And they're looking for someone to fulfill something that they don't have. Especially my high achieving women, especially my successful women. They think, if I'm successful, then he'll choose me, right? Or if I just find the man, then I can lay back and soften into my feminine, right? Then I can create space. No, you have to do it now. When I got back from Denver, I said to myself, what is the life that I desire for myself? I wanted more space. I wanted slow mornings. And I created that for myself so that when Nathan came in, it was already there. It was already there. I remember there was a day where I called my friend Lily and I said, I have nothing on my calendar today and I don't know what to do. And the high achieving part of me was like, we got to do something. We got to fill the calendar. And then I realized, no, if I want to call in a relationship where there's space and there's safety and there's softness, then I have to create the space now in order for that to come in. And so that's what I'm doing. I need to soften and be with the uncomfortable feeling that I need to fill my calendar with something. And if I don't work through that and renegotiate it in my system, then I'm just going to keep running into the same roadblocks over and over and over again. So that was the shift that I made. And then Nathan came in and we knew really quickly that this is what we both wanted. And he has 2 beautiful little girls that I fell in love with. We now have 2 ducks and we have a whole gangle of chickens. And we have a Great Dane puppy, and we have a barn cat that I manifested, and we have Lemmy here, who, if you've been following me for years, you know Lemmy's my kitty. And we're building this really beautiful life that feels, and I promise you it feels just as good as it looks. I have never met a man who has made me feel as safe as he does, as secure in the relationship as he does. I just feel seen, I feel heard, and it is a reflection of the work that I did prior to calling him in. And now I'm healing in deeper ways inside of the partnership. And so this is your nudge. And you all, this happened, I met him in September. So I got back to Nashville in March. I met him in September. And here we are in April. Today is my 37th birthday. And I'm in awe over how much happened in a short period of time. But I promise you, it is a result of the work that I teach inside of my programs. And the other women who are inside my programs can attest to this too. In fact, I'm going to be bringing a couple of them on over the next couple of weeks for you to be able to see that you guys hear my story. And I realized, wait, I got to start telling the stories of the women that are inside of my programs and how this happens for them too. You can collapse timelines so quickly when you become a master of your nervous system and when you learn what it takes to identify the woman that you want to be, what you desire, and you start to use your nervous system to guide the frequency you choose and really fall in love with your life. Nervous system work is the key. It is the key to manifestation. It is the key to collapsing timelines. It is the key to changing your entire life. Yeah, I see Emma. Emma's here. Yeah. She says it's real. It changed Emma's life completely. Emma was inside of the collective program, which I'm so glad you're here. If anyone else is here from the collective, say hi. Also, just a reminder, this is not the surprise that I'm giving you guys today, but the collective is going up in price on Monday. It's going up significantly on Monday, so you can get access to the collective at the current rate until Monday. So make sure you take advantage of that. If you drop ALC underneath this video or DM me ALC, it will send you the link so that you can sign up before Monday, where the price will go up. We've already had a ton of you guys join, so I would love to see more in there. And for those of you who don't know what the collective is, it's my signature program. I always suggest that people, thank you guys. Thank you. And to see Jim's here, Melissa's here. Thank you all. I really appreciate that. And I fully receive the happy birthday wishes. But the collective program is a 3-month container. We go through in month 1 your past relationship patterns, your core stories of limitation, your childhood, and your generational dynamics to get to the root of your dysregulated nervous system responses. Then in phase 2, we use somatic therapy and somatic experiencing to renegotiate these responses so that you can move from protection to connection. And then in month 3, you learn about manifestation and how to use your nervous system to collapse timelines and call in the love that you desire in a short period of time. Right? So we talk all about that in the collective. It is 3 months. You get 2 calls with me every week. You get access to my framework. There's a really beautiful community of women that will support you. It's hands down my most popular training, and it is where everybody should start if you're ready to really dive into the work. Okay, so the collective, again, it's going up $1,000 on Monday. Grab it while you can. But here's the big birthday surprise. Okay, if you feel like you're not ready for the collective, and you're like, I really want to take this work slow. I want to absorb it. Today I just felt generous. And I told my team this morning, I want to give something to everyone to start doing this work, because I promise you that this work is going to radically change your life. So I feel now more grounded, more whole, more complete, safer than I've ever felt in my whole entire life. And I want you to have the exact same feeling, right? Not because my life is perfect, but because the tools that I teach give me deeper access to safety, all right? So today, I am going to be giving all of you 50% off my healing bundle. So you may be like, okay, what's your healing bundle? My healing bundle is every course that I currently have, right? That doesn't include in-person somatic coaching or somatic therapy. Any course that I have ever created, my Miracle Masterclass, my Manifest Your Dream Relationship Masterclass, the Shift Masterclass, my Master Your Nervous System mini course, my Aligned Attraction Framework, my Ultimate Guide to Getting Over Your Ex. Every single masterclass that I have ever led, my Embodied Leader Masterclass, my entire vault of trainings is the healing bundle. You get access to all of that, okay? I'm giving it to you today because it's my birthday at 50% off, which is bananas because the perceived value of that entire program is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And today you're going to get it for like $250, which is crazy. It is wild. So if you drop birthday on any of my posts, if you DM me birthday, if you drop it below, you will receive the link. And all you have to do at checkout is put birthday in the coupon code section. And it will give you 50% off the healing bundle. Inside of the bundle, you're going to have somatic tracking and orientation tools that teach you how to do that. You're going to know how to identify the new version of you. I talk about the master key, which is how you collapse timelines and how you manifest in really rapid ways. I talk about how to say no, how to set boundaries. Everything that I use to heal and collapse this year's timeline is inside of my healing bundle, okay? If you sit and you binge it, do it this weekend. Sit, binge my teachings, hear all about it, hear how to actually do this. And if you want the support of somatic therapy and somatic coaching, you can come into my containers. Once you sign up for the healing bundle, I'll show you how to do that. Or just go straight to the collective and you can have the in-person work with me. But the healing bundle is everything that you need. Okay, it's somatic tools, it's nervous system tools, there's manifestation tools, there are embodiment exercises, there are meditations, there are activations. Every single thing that you need to collapse timelines is in there. Okay, and I wanted to give you, if you've been waiting and you've been watching and you're ready to start this healing journey, this is your invitation to do it today, right? On my birthday, because I want to hear more success stories like mine. We have so many, which we're going to be sharing over the next couple of weeks, but I want your success story to be next, okay? Because you deserve it. You truly, deeply deserve the love and the life that you want for yourself. And the last thing that I'll say, last night I had an interview with Amanda Francis. We were talking about her love story, and something that I said to her, I said, you know, the women that I work with are the courageous ones. They truly are. And the reason that I say that is because you very easily could have settled by now. You could have. Just like me. I could have settled in that relationship last year. But there was this deep knowing inside of me, and I was connected deeply enough to that knowing that I'm meant for a really magnetic life. And some of the things that I've called in my life have given me proof that my life is supposed to be magnetic. I've never done it like anyone else has ever done it. And so if you're here and you're in my world, you are one of the courageous ones, which is why you have refused to settle, which is why you are in the space of knowing that you are meant for divine partnership. And Amanda was like, fuck yes. Like, that's it. That's the key right there. And she said, you know, in my relationship, it's not hard. She's like, and I refuse to subscribe to this narrative that relationships are hard. Because when you're in the right one, it's not hard, you guys. It's not hard. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have hard moments. That doesn't mean that you're not going to argue. But arguing with Nathan, does it activate me? Sure. But it doesn't feel hard because I know I have a partner and I want him. Like, I deeply want him. And that's the difference between women who settle and the courageous ones who don't. And this work will not only set you up for attracting the life that you want, but it will also give you all the tools to really ground into and be present with the things that truly, deeply, really matter in your life. And you will wake up one day and you'll be like, my life is beautiful, right? That's my hope for you. With or without a partner, That's my hope for you, is that you get that. Because when you get to that space, the things you desire come in, and they come in quickly. So if that is you, if you're one of the courageous ones and you're ready, like you're really ready to dive into this work, this is your invitation. Come into the Healing Bundle. So I love you all so much. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Go take advantage of this. It's only going to be alive for 24 hours. And then it disappears because birthday day is over and it goes back to the normal pricing. But I love you all. Don't forget, the collective goes up $1,000 on Monday. So hop in now. There are payment plans available. And I love you guys so much. Have a beautiful Thursday and happy birthday to me. But know that I'm also saying that to you with love. I love you and I'm so grateful you're here.